Our Bible lesson this morning is found in the 17th chapter of the book of Luke, verses 11 through 19. We can find it on page 1627 of our Pew Bibles. And for the kids that have their Bibles with and want to follow along, it's on page 1150. Jesus heals 10 men with leprosy. Now on his way to Jerusalem, Jesus traveled along the border between Samaria and Galilee. As he was going into a village, 10 men who had leprosy met him. They stood at a distance and called out in a loud voice, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." When he saw them, he said, "Go, show yourselves to the priests." And as they went, they were cleansed. One of them, when he saw he was healed, came back, praising God in a loud voice. He threw himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him, and he was a Samaritan. Jesus asked, "Were not all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? Has no one returned to give praise to God except this foreigner?" Then he said to him, "Rise and go. Your faith has made you well." Here ends our reading for this morning.
Well, of the 10, only one came back to thank Jesus. So I want you to think of one thing, just one thing that you would thank Jesus for, and that you would go back and you would tell him. So I want you to think of just one tiny thing. Well, it can be big, I don't care. But one thing that you are thankful for that you would like to tell Jesus. And then I want you to get with 2 or 3 other people, and I want you to exchange that what it is you're thankful for. Okay, so here's your directions. You're going to think of one thing. Tell 2 or 3 other people what you're thankful for, and they're going to tell you. Now, if you don't know each other's names, I invite you to find out their names. And I also, if you'd rather not participate in this is what you do. When you do that, nobody will come and talk with you, okay? All right, so if you don't want to do that, just do this, and they won't bother you, all right? So I'm going to give you a minute or so. Go, do that.
I'm thankful for options.
You're thankful for options.
I'm just thankful for you.
No. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to wrap it up. Sounds like we're kind of wrapping anyway. Let's just try it. Let's just see what some of the things you're thankful for. I'm going to start over right in this section. Anybody thankful for something? Life and health, family, me. No. That's later. Okay, life, health, friends. The Vikings. Yesterday I wore the Vikings jersey or whatever to. We were in downtown anyway, and I never thought so many people were Vikings fans. I just wear the shirt because it was free. So, all right. Anything else? Friends, family. Anybody else? Health. Eternal life? Your husband? Time? Your kids? Freedom? What was this one over here? Church family? Okay, wonderful. All right, as I said yesterday, we were going to, Sandy and I were going to, we went to downtown Minneapolis yesterday. Made the excursion. Now, some of you asked, did you really make it to downtown Los Angeles? Yes, we really did, and I really drove. But we went to downtown Minneapolis, and for our excursion, we decided to take the train. So we got on the train now. And then I was looking online to see how I was going to get to it. We went to the convention center yesterday. So to get from Coon Rapids to the convention center, you have to take the North Star. Is that what it's called? North Star. And then you take the blue line light rail, and then you walk a little bit, and then you take a bus, and you take that down to the convention center, and they let you off. So those were the things. And so there weren't many people boarding the train, so we had to buy our tickets, and I bought the tickets all right, and then there's the platform right there on that side says to Minneapolis, the Minneapolis platform. And so I'm standing there, and Sandy goes, no, I think we have, no, it says right here, honey, to Minneapolis. And she goes, well, all those other people are going, no, it says right to Minneapolis. We had to cross the other side. So we got on the train, and that was fun. We went past, and we went, and you have to go up to the light rail. So we did that, and I got us to there, and we were on the light rail, and then you have to get a bus after you get off the bus. And so we went and we walked, and there's this bus station place, or this whatever they call them, these bus stops and there's one person sitting in there, and there wasn't any. I mean, it was dead. And so I went, well, we got to go this way to get down to where we're going to go. Well, actually, I thought we were supposed to go that way. And said, I think we go that way. And she goes, no, we got to, and she was right. And then, and I had, I said, well, right here, it says this is where we're supposed to pick up the bus. And she goes, well, it says, I said, no, right here's where we're supposed to pick up the bus. And she goes, so she went and talked to the person in the bus stop, and she was right. And so, so she talked to this person and got directions, and it found out this person who gave us directions, she was wrong. And so she came up after us and said, I just want to no, you got to stand over on this side, not on that side, and it'll take, and Sandy's the one who talked to her. I just said, well, no, we'll just walk. She said, no, we got to talk. I said, no, I'm not talking. So she was right about that too. And then even the person who gave us directions, she got on the bus with us to make sure that we would get in the right direction. So I was thankful that that person was there, as well as my loving, endearing wife, to give me directions. Now, some of the things that we give thanks about are pretty easy. They come to our head pretty quickly. Some of them, they're not necessarily what I call surface things, but they're the things that we think about quickly because, I'm thankful for all those kinds of things. But, for family, for health, and for our kids, and for life, and for our job, and church families, all those kinds of things, they come to our head pretty quickly. But I want us to dive a little deeper into this passage of Scripture today. So in this passage of Scripture, what happens is that we have Jesus, and he's up in Galilee. So he's up in the northern part of Israel, and his destination is Jerusalem. So that's in Judah, and that's in the southern part of Israel. And in between the two is this region called Samaria. Now you notice that it says that Jesus traveled the border from Galilee to Jerusalem. Well, this Samaria is smack dab in the middle. How many of you know about Iowa? More hands than that. Good night. All right. How many of you know where Missouri is from Iowa? Where is Missouri? South, directly south. Now, there's a long-standing tradition between Minnesotans and Iowans about how Minnesotans aren't so great and how Iowans aren't so great. I mean, I know that you folks wouldn't be so trivial as to think that Iowans are terrible, but there are some. I'm from Iowa, okay? So, now but for those who think that Iowans aren't so great, and you lived in Minnesota and you need to go to Missouri, and you didn't want to deal with Iowa, to travel along the border, you would go here to I-90, and you would take it over to Wisconsin, or you would take it over to South Dakota, and you would circumvent all of Iowa and then come back into Missouri. That, my friends, is what's going on here in this passage. Now, for as trivial as the Minnesota-Iowa thing is, this wasn't quite so trivial. Jews did not like Samaritans. They would have nothing to do with them. They would avoid them at almost any cost. They would indeed. Now, remember, Samaria is right here in the middle. So they would travel the border in order to get either to the Dead Sea and go around, or even worse, they'd go across. If they're from the north, they'd go across the Lake of Galilee, go over into Moab, find some place to cross down by the Jordan River and come back before they hit the Dead Sea. Or they'd go on the Mediterranean on a Mediterranean cruise. But they didn't want to deal with Samaritans because they were unclean. They didn't worship the right way. A Samaritan was nothing but dirty. And this is what Jesus does. He goes to Samaria. He reaches out to the very people that his nationality would say, you stay away from them. Not only is Jesus reaching out to the Samaritans, but he's talking to the lepers. Now, as I said before to the kids, leprosy is disease that is very contagious. So there was a reason behind their mentality of keeping the lepers at a distance. In fact, whenever you came in, I forget if it was 20 or 50 feet of a leper, they were supposed to yell to you, unclean, unclean. So you knew that you shouldn't get by them. And yet the lepers are calling out to Jesus and they say, Master. And Jesus doesn't turn away from them. Oh no. He goes to them. Is there something, friends, that you are thankful for that's underneath some of those things that we call surface? Would you reach out to somebody that's unclean, whoever or whatever that situation might be? Would you be as bold as Jesus was to ask if they wanted to be healed? Now, that's not his question here. They ask, and Jesus says, go show yourself to the priest. But there is this exchange between the two, and his disciples were just going, what the heck are you doing? What is something that you are thankful for that you just don't know if it's something to be thankful for so much? So this is what I'm going to invite you to do. This is scarier yet. I'm going to invite you to stand up and move. You can now, for those of you who are already having a slight heart attack, the AED is in the back. It will help. You know, we can revive you. All right? What I'm going to ask you to do is stand up and move. I want you to find somebody that you do not know. I want you to introduce yourself, and I want you to tell them something that you are thankful for. Okay? It doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be little, but I want you to move and introduce yourself to somebody you do not know and say something you're thankful for. Now, here's the deal. If you don't, you just don't. If you do, I think you'll find somebody that you will be able to remember their name for the rest of your time in this place. I don't know, but God is calling us to be thankful and to reach out to people that we don't know. So I know that some of you think, you know, those people over there always sit over there for a reason. I don't need to talk to them. Those people in the back, that's because they think they hear better in the back. So I'm going to invite you to stand up, and if you don't want to participate, this is what you do. You just sit in your pew And if someone approaches you, just look down. And they'll know what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few minutes. Go find somebody you do not know, find out their name, and say something you're thankful for. You can go.
Bill and Kristen.
Bill and Kristen. Randy.
I don't know about you, but I'm thankful that my son's coming home from the Marine Corps Thanksgiving Day.
Wow, great. What's his name?
His name is Cole.
Okay.
Yeah.
You thankful for something?
I'm thankful just for my house. Everybody's gonna get the flu and sick. I'm thankful. Well, hopefully it holds while we're on the plane.
While you're in the plane?
Yeah,
For our trip.
We're gonna go see our son graduate in San Diego.
Okay, well, great. Well, I'm thankful that I'm no longer a homeowner anymore.
You're no longer what?
A homeowner.
Oh,
Sold your home.
Well, in a matter of speaking, yeah.
Yep. Okay. Good.
Yeah, so,
this time of year makes you particularly grateful. Leaves and snow.
well, I have to still deal with leaves and snow,
Yeah, right.
but now I don't own the house.
Good.
That's not a problem.
Yeah,
One less thing to worry about.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell myself.
It was good to meet you.
You too. Thanks.
I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to wrap it up, if you would. When that one leper came back to thank Jesus, out of all 10, only one came back, and that leper happened to be a Samaritan. Can you imagine having leprosy all your life? Now, we don't know if all 10 did, but it's pretty contagious. So can you imagine having leprosy? Find out you having leprosy meant that you left your family and you went to live with other lepers. And if I thought of that, I just think, I would just think about how hard leprosy had been all that time. And it's wonderful to be healed. But I would also think, well, why did I ever get it in the first place? See, I'm more of a not as optimistic as, certainly as my wife, Sandy. When we talk about blessings, we do this almost every day. Sandy and I have this ritual that we say, so what was the best part of your day? And so in essence, what blessed you today? And so the response is, what's the best part of your day besides being with me? Now, we both do that. Come on. Otherwise, that would be your first response, right? Being with my spouse or being with my kids. So that's what we do. And Sandy tends to see things more optimistic than I do. One of the things that that a lot of you have asked me over the past couple of months is how are things going for you? How are things going okay? Do you like it here? That kind of question. And if you are one of those folks who ask me, you'll notice that I'm tentative with how I answer. Most recently, I answer like this: well, the people are really great. 2 weeks ago, tomorrow, we had a guest at our house. Some of you know that Sandy and I are renting the Miller's house. But we had a different guest at our house. Neither of us knew that this person before they came, and Sandy called and said, come. So I came, and he was there for an express purpose. He was there for us to sign papers. And we signed papers basically stating that the house that we owned in Wilmer is no longer ours because it went back to the bank. We weren't able to make that work. And one of the reasons that when you asked me how things are going, well, that was one of the things that was weighing on me. Like, well, we have this house back there that we own, but we can't own it, and it won't sell. It was worth less than what it was owed. And somebody asked me recently, said, well, what was that like for you when you did that? And I said, when we signed those papers, and it's not quite over, but it's almost over. And so it was deed in lieu of foreclosure. So basically the bank is theirs and not ours, and whatever we put into it is gone. And I said this, I said, I feel like a failure. But Sandy, on the other hand, would say, I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. See, there's different approaches. Now, I'll tell you, friends, that there will come a time that I'm going to be able to agree with Sandy, just like when she told me to go across to the railroad station. But for now, it's gummy. And I'm kind of wondering if that might have been some of the stuff that was going on within the lives of those lepers as well. But here's the deal. I know this, that no matter what happens or why it happened, that Jesus is in control. And that even that whole stuff that went on with our house is stinky. Somehow, some way, there will be a way that God will make that work out to be a blessing. Now, Sandy's already there. She can already recite those kinds of things. We're done with all that kind of stuff. And I can be there at times. And I don't know, maybe some of you go back and forth with things that yep, that's a blessing, even though it wasn't so great, it was a blessing. And then after a while you think, well, it wasn't such a blessing. But we are called to give thanks, be grateful to God for all things. Even the things that are stinky. I don't know how hard that would be to write down, but I'm going to give you an opportunity. Everybody got a card, or at least I hope you got a card when you came in this morning, that has on the back of it ways for you to be grateful, or things I'm grateful for. I'm going to invite you to write down things that you're grateful for. And then at some point in time, I'm going to invite you to come and you can put those in the baskets up front. So I'm going to invite one voice to come forward. They're going to share with us a song about giving thanks, but I'm going to invite you to write down those things, and then when you're ready, I invite you to come and put them in the baskets. You can also bring your offering as well. On the flip side of those cards, you'll notice that there's also a way to commit to financially giving to our congregation. And if you're prepared to do that, I invite you to do that as well. But would you just please write things that you are grateful for, things that you are thankful for? And when you come forward, just put them in the basket. If you can't move or whatever, have somebody else do it for you. I invite you to put your offerings in those baskets as well. And if you have prayer requests, if you put them in there as well. So we're going to invite them to come and sing for us. And then whenever you're ready to move, you just move. All right, let's join.
First morning light, for the birds when they fly,
for the clouds when they hang up so high in the sky, for your glory I see in a sweet baby smile. I give thanks
for those times when I've laughed with my family and friends,
for the times when I've cried since your spirit again. For your love the sound of the saints when they all join in and proclaim you are God, the forgiver of sin. For there's hope in my heart that forever I'm yours. I give thanks. I give thanks. I give thanks to you. I give thanks, oh Lord, for everything you give, for everything I am. I give thanks to you. I give thanks, oh Lord, for all these perfect gifts. They have come from you, so I give thanks.
For this breath that I breathe, for my eyes that can see.
Morning sunsets and stars, walk the valleys and trees. All the years that you've shown loving kindness to me. I give thanks for the stripes that you bore, so that I could be healed. For the crown that you wore, so that I could be free. For your blood that you shed, given freely for me. I give thanks. I give thanks. I give thanks to you. I give thanks, oh Lord, for everything you give, for everything I have. I give thanks to you. I give thanks, oh Lord, for all these perfect gifts. They have come from you, so I give thanks. I give thanks, I give thanks, I give thanks, I give thanks. I give thanks, I give thanks, I give thanks, I give thanks. I give thanks, 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 I give thanks to you. I give thanks, oh Lord, for everything you give, for everything I have. I give thanks to you. I give thanks, oh Lord, for all these perfect gifts. They have come from you, so I give thanks. 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 I give thanks.
I do give thanks for this congregation. Thank you for your support and encouragement, and I know that we don't always agree with everything. I am wearing a tie nowadays, but I still have jeans on. No, that's all right. In the midst of all those things, though, friends, we are called to be in ministry together. And I just love that, that we serve in a congregation that loves God. And this is just one thing that's indicative of that. I don't know, it was left over from last week. Many of you are familiar with this. It's an offering envelope. And it has a couple of, I don't know how much, I think $1 million, a check for $1 million. And it's written for God. That's, it says general fund, building fund, other, and this one just says to God. Now, there's not $1 million in here, but it's a wonderful offering. So I'm going to invite us together and count our blessings. Let's sing the